This is the homily for April 25th, 2021, the fourth Sunday of Easter. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to John. Jesus said, "I am the good shepherd. A good shepherd lays down his life for the sheep. A hired man who is not a shepherd and whose sheep are not his own sees a wolf coming and leaves the sheep and runs away, and the wolf catches and scatters them. This is because he works for pay and has no concern for the sheep. I am the good shepherd, and I know mine, and mine know me, just as the Father knows me, and I know the Father, and I will lay down my life for my sheep. I have other sheep that do not belong to this fold. These also I must lead, and they will hear my voice, and there will be one flock, one shepherd. This is why the Father loves me, because I lay down my life in order to take it up again. No one takes it from me, but I lay it down on my own. I have power to lay down and power to take up again. This command I have received from my Father." The Gospel of the Lord. Every once in a while, somebody asks me, "How do you write your homilies?" Well, truth be told, I've never written a homily in my entire life, but I have received a whole bunch of them. My job is to be a conduit of what I feel the Lord wants me to say. On Monday, I will read the Gospel for the following Sunday and put it away. On Tuesday, I will write it out longhand and put it away. On Wednesday, I will see what words pop out to me. And on Thursday, I take a day of rest. I let it incubate and just sits with me for a while. And then on Friday, I start to write. This last Thursday, the words that popped out at me were two images. One, the image of a child, children. The other, the image of a shepherd and sheep. And in the second reading today, we hear, "We are God's children now. What we shall be later on has not yet been revealed." And in the Gospel, we hear Jesus tell us that he is the good shepherd and takes care of his sheep. All Friday night, I tossed and turned and had this crazy earworm or dream worm that went on and on and on again. And it was, Mary had a little lamb. And I thought, where in the world is this coming from? I just couldn't get it out of my head. On Saturday morning when I began to write, I finally figured it out. Mary was the child, and the lamb was the one that she shepherded. Mary had a little lamb, its fleece was white as snow, and everywhere that Mary went, the lamb was sure to go. He followed her to school one day. It was against the rules. It made the children laugh and play to see a lamb at school. Now, I was so intrigued about this, I looked it up, and I found out that it is actually based on a true story of a young girl named Mary Elizabeth Sawyer. She was born in the early 19th century and lived in Massachusetts, and her father was a small farmer. One day, a baby lamb was born, was about to die because the mother abandoned it. Her father wanted to put this newborn out of its misery because it would never survive. But Mary begged him, "Please, Father, let me see what I can do." And so she nursed him and fed him and slept with him all night long until the little lamb began to become strong and was soon on its feet. And at that point, everywhere that Mary went, the lamb was sure to go. Today is Good Shepherd Sunday, where Jesus proclaims that he is the good shepherd who freely lays down his life, not for himself, but for others, for his flock. And he says that there are other sheep that are not members of his flock, but he wants to shepherd them as well, so that in the end there will be only one flock, one shepherd, complete unity and harmony in all of God's kingdom. Now, the job of a shepherd is twofold. First, to take care of the sheep, to keep them safe, and secondly, to make sure that they are fed well, because if they are, they can begin to give back, both in wool and ultimately in sustenance. Now, if I may be permitted to mix a metaphor, because I think when St. John is writing this gospel about the members who are not of the flock, he's talking about the Gentiles, that Jesus wants to bring them in. But I would like to extend the metaphor to include all of creation, real sheep and oxen and cats and dogs and even wolves and birds and creepy crawly things and trees and forest and rivers and streams and everything that God has ever made. He wants to shepherd, to first protect it from what he calls the world, what we would probably call today the system, which uses people and creation as resources for their own ends. And for this universal vision of harmony and cooperation between all of God's creatures and all of God's creation, he is more than willing to lay down his life. And so he does. Today is Good Shepherd Sunday, and I would like to take a look at another shepherd, one that is still among us, who is a vicar of the Christ, and of course I'm referring to our Holy Father Francis. Pope Francis chose the name Francis after Saint Francis, who saw God's creation as holy. The earth and all of its creatures he called the footprints of God. To him, every creature was sacred. Everything carried the divine incarnational imprint of the Christ. This last Thursday, Pope Francis spoke to the world about a most urgent matter, telling us once again that matter matters, that the material world is infused with the divine presence and we must take care of it. For it is not just earth and dust, it is mater, it is mother, it is Mother Earth. He spoke to us on Earth Day and insisted that we take what is going on in our world today as an existential crisis. He said, and I quote, "We are on the edge of a climate crisis. The time to act is now. We need to ensure that the environment is clear, pure, and that it is conserved. We need to take care of nature so that nature can take care of us." There was a sense of urgency in his voice and a clear call to action, which is all well and good, but what can we as little individuals do to avert the looming disaster over our heads? May I make a humble suggestion? Go for a walk. Go outside. It is now safe to take off your mask, leave your cell phone at home, unplug your earbuds, and begin to walk, listen, and look. If you are near a nature trail or prairie path, all the better. Let this be a contemplative walk where we are to discover who we truly are, our deepest identity, and our relationship to everything around us. The name of the game on this walk is awareness, living in the present moment, and breathing deeply and taking in all that surrounds us. Listen to the sounds of the crickets and the birds. Feel the earth beneath your feet and the breeze in your face. And as you walk, recall the words of St. John from today's second reading. Beloved, we are God's children now. What we shall be has not yet been revealed. We do know that when it is revealed, we shall be like him, for we shall see him as he is. I believe that little Mary Sawyer saw him when she looked at that helpless little sheep dying. And in a stroke of intimacy, she did not lay down her life, but that she did lay down next to that little one and embraced it and loved it into health. I believe that we too are all called to that kind of intimacy with all of God's creation. And when we do, that love that we have for it will cause us to act. For all of that creation is nothing less than the reflection, the face of God. We shall see him as he is, and he always comes disguised. And as we learn to see him, we become like him, life-giving love. So go for your walk. To practice what I preach, I went walking yesterday through my favorite place, the Lincoln Marsh, which is right behind my house. And as I crossed over the bridge to the marsh behind Monroe Middle School, I saw a woman with her dog playing frisbee. It was obvious these two were one, in perfect sync with each other. The dog was incredible, making catches that were, well, unbelievable. And soon she drew a crowd of people watching, and all were caught up in the simple wonder of it all. If Jesus' prayer is that all may be one, human and creation, well, this was just a little bit of heaven. So what can we do about the looming crises? Get intimate, as Mary got intimate. I never knew this before, but there was a third stanza to the nursery rhyme. After the teacher put the lamb out, it went. And so the teacher turned it out, but still it lingered near, and waited patiently about, till Mary did appear. The sheep, the cow, the grass, the forest, the seas, the streams, are waiting for us to appear.